Oh man, not another day like last Tuesday.
Tuesday Newsday.
Welcome to today's Tuesday Newsday, where our goal is to determine two or more central ideas of a text and analyze their development over the course of that text, including how they interact and build on one another. The scale here listed below is what I want you to keep an eye on throughout this lesson as you read the article and answer the questions, because you will also be asked to rate yourself according to this scale once the lesson is over. If you're at a 4, if you place yourself at a 4 at the end of the lesson, that means that you can identify the central idea or ideas. You can point to the evidence that the author uses to prove his or her point and how those ideas build on one another. If you place yourself at a 3, that means that you can identify the central idea and the evidence that the author uses to prove his or her point. If you're at a 2, that means that you can identify the central idea, but you're missing some of that evidence that goes along with being able to point out the central idea. It's kind of like in math where you have to show your work. Pointing out that evidence matters. It shows me where you are able to go to find that central idea. And a 1 means that you are unsure of how to find the central idea. Please be honest with your rating. It helps me to organize my lessons in such a way that points out and helps to build these skills. And so getting to a 3 is the ultimate goal by the end of the year. If everyone's at a 3 by the end of the year, I think that is a success. But again, honesty is the best policy here. So if you're at a 1 or a 2, please tell me so that I can continue to work to improve my own ability to point out what matters when it comes to identifying the central idea of a text.
We've won football games a lot of different ways. We keep talking about any means necessary, being at your best when it's required, but you also have to be willing to look inward sometimes when it's tough. All right, when it's really, really hard. And the only way you can persevere is by relying on the man next to you. Coaches, players, you guys just kept leaning in and leaning in. That's a very difficult place to play. I think it's been about 40-something years since this team has lost here when they were leading by 14 points at halftime. What we earned here today is the final stamp on understanding that we are one of the best teams in this league. Now we get to go prove it each and every week. We get an out, but I love this team and I love getting to see you guys do your thing. Give it up for yourselves one more time. This guy stayed patient. Probably didn't get enough touches early, but he continues to be at his best in huge moments. Our running back, down Yes, sir. In moments where you have to have it in a football game, okay, you go to your best player. And time again today, Kirk Cousins found this guy, and he made huge plays to change the game. Justin Jefferson, where you at? I got a couple captains. All right, 2 guys that balled out on defense, led the charge all day long. First one, Eric Kendricks. Take it. We'll get to that other captain here in a second, but I do want to not miss out on Harrison Phillips. Where are you, former Buccaneers? But last but not least, 2 interceptions. This guy is... I love this guy right here. Being at your best Squad on 3, 1, 2, 3,
Hello and welcome to another edition of Tuesday Newsday. As I sit here and record this, your Minnesota Vikings are 8-1 through 10 weeks of the 2022 season. 8-1 because we've also had our bye week. I've largely avoided sports because I know that doesn't always connect with everyone, but Because this is Tuesday Newsday, 8-1, and one of the best teams in the NFL is definitely newsworthy. So 8-1, an 8-win, 1-loss record gives Viking fans a lot of hope. We're a city and a state where we've never seen our Vikings win a championship, so a lot of people are invested. A lot of people are cautiously optimistic, and a lot of people just have not bought in yet because they know that this team has let them down for years and years and years. This is a team that has never won the Super Bowl. I am 32. I've never seen it in my lifetime, and well, neither have your parents. So that's just kind of where we're at with this, and so we are wondering as a state, as a local media, are the Vikings really contenders? And I've brought two sort of opinions today. One that says the Vikings are contenders, they're ready to win, they have the recipe, they have all the ingredients to be a Super Bowl champion. And there's another article that says maybe not yet. So you're going to look at both sides and look at the main idea, why one argues one side and why one argues the other, why they are Super Bowl contenders, and why they might not be Super Bowl contenders. And so we'll do that through the to-do list on the screen, as you've seen, as I've been kind of giving you a little bit of an intro here. But first, let's get each article open in a new tab and read them. Please do that now. The first thing that I would like you to do, of course, is identify the first sentence of the first article and the first sentence of the second article. And now let's go ahead and identify the last sentence of the first article and the last sentence of the second article. All right, now that we've sort of gotten that out of the way, time to take a look at summarizing. We summarize in 12 words, and we summarize in 32 words. We shoot for 12 words because that forces us to be concise. It's like, what is important? How can I really narrow down what's important in each of these two articles? Right, and I'm going to ask you again, like we have in previous weeks, to synthesize. This means to bring together both articles and write one 12-word summary of both of them, not two summaries, just one. And then with 32 words, it allows us to add more detail, be a little bit more long-winded, and give a little bit more of a well-rounded response. So let's write a 12-word summary now. And a 32-word summary now. All right, and typically now we move into the main idea of the article. What do you think is the main idea? And then we have a respond to the quote section of the assignment as well, the video lesson as well. And that's going to look a little bit different. The main idea portion will look the same. The respond to the quote will look a little bit different. So right now, let's stick with main idea. What do you think is the main idea of Article 1? Please explain now. And what would you say is the main idea of Article 2? Please explain now. All right, and you came to a conclusion based on something that you read in the story, something that you, some evidence that was present that you thought was important. You don't just get to the main idea based on nothing. There's a theme, there's a response that seems to make some sense. It seems to add some evidence to your supposition, right? So instead of me bringing up that answer, what that evidence is, I'm gonna have you write out a quote that you think is important. What is something that the author said, or a quote that they got from someone else to argue that the Vikings are a contender or are not? So for Article 1, go ahead and provide some evidence that you think proves your main idea. And let's do the same with Article 2. Provide some evidence that you think proves your main idea. And being able to identify a quote or something that the author says yourself rather than me bringing it up to you is sort of the next step in moving up the scale, right? That scale that we see at the beginning of every lesson. So let's take a look at that scale now. It is on the screen. Determine two or more central ideas of a text and analyze their development over the course of that text, including how they interact and build on one another. If you are at a 4, the skills are listed there. If you're at a 3, skills are listed there with just a little bit, less. You're able to accomplish a little bit less than if you're at a 4. If you're at a 2 or a 1, those are also listed there. Again, the goal is to get to a 3. But again, the most important thing here is honesty. If you're at a 2, I can work on helping you get to that 3. But if you say you're at a 3 and I can tell by your answers that you're not at a 3, then we got to figure out where the disconnect is. But if you can tell me that you're at a 2 or a 1 and why you're at a 2 or a 1, I can help you get to that 3. Thank you, and completing this lesson has earned you your unit for today.